Welcome back to another 100-year celebration video. This one is going to be kind of just a hodgepodge of a bunch of stuff that I just thought it would be fun to look at. And we're going to start out with our stats. One of our channel members created a few of these for us to look at. So thank you very much, Silvana, for taking the time to do this. I know that you have a life and an actual job. So thank you for doing this. So let's talk about what these are. This shows us the number of Sims alive at the start of each decade. That's what the blue boxes are at the bottom. Okay, so in 1300, there were only 2 alive, right? That makes sense because we started out with Edmund and Grace. And then in 1390, at the beginning of the decade, there were 78 Sims alive. We would like, now that we've gotten further over here, this red line, we want it to hover around 0%. Because we have Sims who are getting older and dying, and we have new Sims being born. So at this point, we're wanting things to kind of balance out where we have the same number of births and deaths, but we are not there, nor have we been there yet. So that's what this white line tells us. This red line tells us the variation with respect to the previous decade. So what it's showing you is this first one, of course, was 0%, and then it went all the way up because we went from 2 Sims to 7 Sims. But you can start to see it from here. So in 1310, we had 7, and in 1320, we had 14, and that is a 100% increase. So I hope that makes sense, that our Sims increased 100%. Then when we went from 14 to 20, that was only a 43%. And you can see right here, between 1340 and 1350, we lost 14%. Of our Sims, and that is because the plague happened at the very end of the 1340s. So then we gained 63% from the next year, which of course we would, and then we just got bigger and bigger. This was the years where John was having 10 children and Michael was having 10 children, and so in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, we just kind of exploded. All of their children started expanding. And then in 1370 to 80, in 1380, we started the new rolling system. So you can see that before I started the new rolls, we still went down. I mean, we still only went up 36% instead of the 87 that we had gone up the year before, or the decade before. And then in the final, that first time of using the new rolls from the 80 to 90, we did go down 1%. We went from 79 Sims to 78 Sims. And so now moving into 1400, we can start to see our red line kind of more leveling out and hovering around the 0. It shouldn't be growing at the rate that it was because, of course, at the beginning, our family needed to expand, and now we don't need to anymore. So we can just stay at a level rate. I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll check it out. Anyway, if you are not all into these stats, I'm so sorry. There's only 2 more pages. That's all you have to sit through. This one is the Miller family stats by decade. So again, 1300 to 1390 is down here. The yellow are the number of people who died. So look at this very first, in the first 10 years that we played, 8 people died. Those were all their kids. All Grace and Edmund's kids that didn't live are down here at the spot at the bottom, in the bottom line. And then we have the blue tells us the number of kids born. So you can see that we had 43 in 1380 and we had 56 over here. I do like the married. So this year it tells us how many people got married. And so you can also see that in 1380, we didn't have as many people married as we did in 1370 or in 1390. So that is very interesting to me. The way the marriages go, the way the marriages seem to balance out the number of births, of course. Although right here we only had 4 people born and we had 33 births. That was part of that was the 10 children from John, and then the 10 children from Michael kind of spanned both of these, and then their children started aging up and getting married over here. So we went from 31 total people to 55 to 75, and only up 1 to 76, and then finally ending with 93. This last one tells us something similar, but it is done by year. So the main thing I want us to look at that I think is the best is the yellow lines. So you can see that we kind of average out. There are little bitty dips in years where more people died than others, but you can definitely tell when the plague happened, right? We all see when the plague happened. And you can also tell in 1380, that's when the roles changed. That's also when I did that live episode, that live stream where so many of our people died. That was right here. You can see that little spike. And then for some weird reason in 1396, that is the year that our heir Sebastian died. We lost a ton of people that year. It was just a really bad year for roles. Nothing exceptional happened. In fact, when she was making this chart and putting all these things together, she sent a message and said, "What happened in 1396?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And so she told me about the spike and the thing, and I was like, "Wow, it was just bad rolls, I guess, on my part." So anyway, I think that this looks really cool, especially when you look at the plague and what it did to our family and then where we are. But this line, total alive, we're still trending up. We definitely have more people alive than the two we started with. And that is our stats. So I wanted to take a look at a few of the other aspects of the game and the things that I have loved about this game. So here are just different pictures of our homestead. I took this one early on, and I think I need to take one from that vantage point in every season because the house is changing. Every 5 years, we're adding some new aspect of it. And so I really want to try to remember to do that. Take one of those pictures at least in each season as they switch. Then we just have random pictures. We have a snow pile up here, and this is just our house in the middle of a blizzard. You can't see anything but the snow. And so now we move into our moments. I wanted this in here just because these are pictures where weird things happened. We have a glitch in the game down here where somebody looks completely odd. That's Kai Miller, technically. It doesn't matter who it is, but also we hatched a bird while we were holding food, so that looks weird because it is a bird in a bowl of soup. We have our toddler invasion over here. A cow looked like it was eating a dead guy, a weird mustache, a stinky baby, scared people, and our Alice, who just flopped down outside and decided to make a snow angel one time. So these are just moments that made me laugh, and I wanted to capture them to share with you, and I did share them all over on Discord. And so, but I wanted everybody to be able to see them. These are my favorite moments and y'all's favorite moments. I got so many comments about Edmund sitting and chatting with all of his grandkids and his children. So I put some of those pictures in there. Anytime the adults just autonomously sit down and chat, I loved it so much. We have Quentin making a very mean face as he used to do all the time at our house. And then just the people sitting around the table. Here's Hugh with little Michael and little John sitting at the table. And then here's Hugh with some more of the kids at the table. And Ida up here wearing our little baby Alice on her back because she would not nap otherwise. And then just some fire dancing around, or some time around the fire always made me happy as well. And so these are just some of our favorite moments. The infants, when they came along and could do tummy time and sit up, and we finally made an actual cake with actual candles on it to age somebody up. And anyway, it was just wonderful. We also have our weddings. I have tried to take a picture of every single person that has gotten married, and you can see our very first wedding right here in the middle was Mary getting married to Adrian in the middle of the chapel that we used to have, and we used to go to that chapel. Also, we have Hugh down here getting married in the same chapel, and then everybody else that gets married in England gets married at our house. The people who get married in France, that's a French wedding, and this over here is a French wedding. They just are on their own. And now, as we have spread out into more places, and now we do have a French wedding venue, then things are going to look a little bit different. But I just wanted some examples of some of our weddings. I love that I have pictures of every person that has gotten married in our family. And now we have a few best ofs. Some of these y'all voted on, some of these I came up with on my own, but here we go. Best in labor face. Now I tried to just I tried to pick one because I thought these were hilarious. And a lot of them make the same faces, but there's still some that I think are just really funny. And so I had to get them and put them in here. There are a lot more in labor faces, but not everybody has good lighting. And so you couldn't even see who some of them were. So I didn't share those, but these are our best in labor faces. Best fire dancer goes to Christopher Cooper. You guys, I do not have a single picture of Christopher fire dancing. He is standing right here where my cursor is in this picture, but he's not fire dancing in this picture. I actually think somebody behind him is, but it was a running joke for a really long time that anytime Christopher came over and there was a fire, he was the first one to start fire dancing and usually the last one to stop at the end. So Christopher lived a really long time in our family. He married into our family and he was fantastic and I really liked him. Then I put best hugs. There are so many. We have to start with the first one, right? This is Grace and Edmund when they first moved in. This was also me trying to use a pose pack for the first time. So it's not a quote unquote sim hug, but it was the best I could do at that moment. Then we have all of the hugs with the newborn babies. I didn't take a picture of everybody who got a hug with their newborn baby, but I did with a lot, especially at the very beginning because I was using those as the baby pictures. And then I realized that was going to be entirely too many pictures if I did that too. So I stopped doing it. But these little hugs are adorable. And then the sibling hugs. I get so many of these pictures of the siblings hugging each other. And I think they're fantastic. These are not all sibling hugs. This is the first time Hugh hugged his wife before they got married. But for the most part, they're sibling hugs. And then finally, the little kids hugging the adults is just the best. I love these pictures so much. I tried to even put, I got a picture of Hugh when he was playing with his little sister when he was a teenager. I also got Sebastian leaning over to kiss one of his kids goodnight. And then our new heir, Harris, loves to give hugs. So he hugged his grandma and he's got a hug with his mom up here. We have so many hugs and playing and I love it. They're so cute. There's all of them together. I just wanted them all on one page so we could see all the different kinds of hugs and just the cuteness. Now we have our favorites. Favorite second generation child. You guys voted on this and your winner is Hugh. I think everybody saw this coming, right? I mean, you all could count the votes. If you were over on Discord, you could definitely count how many votes Hugh had. And not far and away, but he won the votes. Second place was our Daniel, number 11 down there. He was second place because a lot of you guys really felt sorry for him and the life that he led. But our winner was Hugh. Hugh also won favorite heir. And I have a theory about this. I think it's because Hugh is the only heir, other than Edmund, Hugh is the only heir who has lived to old age and died of old age. Everybody else has died from some kind of accident when they were in their 20s or 30s. Nobody has made it as far as Hugh. And so we just had him around for the longest. And I think that's why he's everybody's favorite. Now, the last thing was kind of me playing around with the families and their bubbles and their colors. So in 1300, we just had two people. They had Hugh. We're going to talk through our heirs. Hugh had John. John had Kellen. Kellen had Sebastian. And Sebastian had Harris. So that is our line of heirs and the way it has gone from the beginning. Then that family is green. Then we have our purple family. I put them coming off of Hugh, but they're actually all of the children from Hugh and everybody else who were not heirs. So they are the siblings to our heirs. Then we have our yellow family. From Edmund and Grace, we had Mary. And then from Mary, we had Gwendolyn. And then from Gwendolyn, we had all of the Yellow family. Also, from Mary, we had Frey. And from Frey, we have the Red family. And finally, from Edmund and Grace, we have Clara. From Clara, we have Penelope. And from Penelope, we have our Blue family. So that is how we got all of our colors and all of our families, and there are their colors. So if we look at the very beginning, we had 2 people, and at the very end, we have 93. 100 years, 2 people became 93, and I think that it is amazing. I am so excited to jump in to this next century, and I can't wait to get going on the 1400s. Thank you for coming along on this journey. Some of you I know have been here from the beginning. Some of you just came in and you have been binge watched all of them. Some of you came in and hit all the recaps so that you knew what was going on. And some of you, this may be the first video that you're watching. And that is fine, because now you know who everybody is and what's happening with our family. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.